Hi, and welcome to Thursday Comics. I'm Tom Scioli, author of Jack Kirby, The Epic Life of the King of Comics. I Am Stan, a graphic biography of the legendary Stan Lee, and Jack Kirby's Star Warriors, The Adventures of Adam Star and the Solar Legion. I'm also the author of Witchman, a new superhero comic book, which recently had a successful Kickstarter campaign. So here's the mighty Thor, number 143. Balder the Brave, the stunning Sif, the evil enchanters, panic in the city. This is it, true believer. And we've got a great little cover here. We see some new antagonists entering the story, the evil enchanters, and we see Balder and Sif joining the party. Thor kind of contorting himself to gaze at the descent of the enchanters. The Norse gods, they're just like us. Here's the mighty Thor enjoying an ice cream soda, made by this soda jerk. Produced in living color by Stan the Man Lee and Jack King Kirby. Embellished by Bill Everett. Lettered by Sam Rosen. True believers all. So yeah, the big change up this issue, we have Bill Everett on inks. So it's been all Coletta all the time for as long as I can remember. And now we have somebody else, Bill Everett. And it'll be interesting to compare and contrast. But yeah, this is one of those Marvel Comics moments where it's Thor in a regular modern day real life situation sipping on an ice cream soda. I do wonder though, this setup with this soda jerk with the little hat and stuff, it feels like it might be from 10, 15, 20 years prior to this. I don't know if you saw this as much in New York in 1967 compared to say 1957 or 1947, but I don't know. I wasn't there. And he says, from now on, that drink's going to be known as my Asgard Special. Thor's surrounded by admirers. This guy won't let Thor pay for the drink. What ends up happening is he's got to sing for his supper. Everybody wants to hear stories about Asgard. And so he starts to weave a tale. And his storytelling is so evocative, it's almost like they can see it. And there's the Rainbow Bridge leading to Asgard. And I got to say, I'm enjoying these Bill Everett inks. Bill Everett, creator of the Submariner, somebody who Jack had a lot of respect for and somebody who had a lot of respect for Jack Kirby. After this issue, we're going to go back to Vince Coletta for a while, but Everett will come back a couple more times before the end of Jack's tenure on Thor. And Jack, when asked about it, actually had no recollection of Bill Everett ever inking Thor. In fact, he couldn't imagine somebody like Bill Everett, who was such a creator, an originator in his own right. He couldn't imagine him inking Kirby. But, here it is. There's Heimdall. Here's a nice angled downward shot inside Asgard. And then there he is, Odin. Verily he be Asgard incarnate, and to the god of thunder he be one thing more. He be flesh of my flesh, blood of my blood. For him do I call father. Everybody wants to hear more, but Thor's a busy guy. He's got to get going. And he's back to being Don Blake, checking out some test results. Again, Don Blake's office seems a little lonelier without Jane Foster, but we're starting to adjust. He's got this patient coming in who these test results are for, and he wants to know, how bad is it? And Don Blake can happily report that you're perfectly well, everything's fine, all your tests are negative. And the joy in his eyes, in his heart, even the life of a thunder god can offer no greater satisfaction than this, for I have helped a fellow man. Nice little moment there, and keeping Donald Blake in the mix, letting you know that he is an important aspect of Thor's identity. Now we cut back to Asgard. In the previous issue, Odin sent Balder and Sif on a mission, and here they are in Ringsfjord. The dreaded land of Ringsfjord. 'Tis here noble Odin said that dark enchanters would be found. And now the ground is in upheaval. They're thrown from their horses. Or the dialogue indicates that they've jumped from their horses. Abandon thy steed. Upon our feet alone is a measure of safety now to be found. And I like the Bill Everett inks, but I gotta say, it doesn't feel quite on brand without Coletta. I mean, Coletta's look has become so closely associated with Thor by this point that his absence is missed. Even though Everett is doing a fantastic job and is probably more faithful than Coletta to the pencils, showing he doesn't leave lines out or details out the way Coletta might. But the whole aesthetic just isn't, for my taste, it doesn't quite scream Thor the way the Coletta inks do. And now they're preparing for battle. Everything's in upheaval. And then here is the spirit of the living talisman, which do serve the three enchanters. They're ready for battle, Balder and Sif, Thor's best friends. And now the living talisman materializes as a creature of magical energy, does battle with Sif and Balder. It's a pretty exciting sequence. And it feels like we're starting to get more of the epic feel and the imagination unleashed that we'd seen for the past 2 years in Thor that I feel was kind of lacking in the last couple issues. There's a little more of the Tales of Asgard energy coming back to the main story of Thor. And so after a tough battle, Baldur's defeated this giant, and now it evaporates, and we see the people who created it, who created this living talisman. There are the three enchanters. They look pretty cool, even in this little, tiny shot here. And what a great page turn. Here they are, like three amazing new villains, completely ready for prime time. Great Jack Kirby designs with these little faces in their chests, these talisman that they carry. The helmets are amazing. This guy could almost be like an Asgardian Batman. And their names are Magnir, Forsung, and Brona. Magnir, there was a Magnar in an issue of Jimmy Olsen, who is a pretty cool looking character. And then there was a Brola, occasionally referred to as Brona, in issue 2 of New Gods. They just look amazing here. Baldur's ready for battle, but they're sinking into quicksand. But then Sif has her teleportation powers, which we saw in the Thor suicide issue a few issues back. We shall be gone. Nice lettering there. And they catapult across the cosmos to Earth with that sort of Human Torch effect. And they materialize in New York City, and now they have to look for Thor. Don Blake, whose existence is really, purely an existence of service, all work and no play, and he hears all the commotion outside and sees, a thing that's becoming a recurring theme in the Marvel comics of superheroes, super characters causing a traffic jam. Sif and Balder are looking for Thor, but they are not aware of Thor's human identity of Don Blake. During the Troll War, the Trolls learned it thanks to the all-seeing Oracle, but it's not really an open secret in Asgard. Although I do wonder if there is, if we go back and read some of the older issues of Thor closely, if there's a scene where Balder does know about Don Blake. But at this point in the continuity, it's decided that they don't know. And so this guy, this police officer, knows that Don Blake is somebody who has a close relationship with Thor. So he's going to, if these guys are looking for Thor, he just wants to get them out of the street, get everything back to normal as soon as possible. So he takes them to see Don Blake, who can get them in touch with Thor. We got Forbush trucking going on here. And then another great, amazing, dramatic sequence of the Enchanters. Really just like a welcome addition to the story. Some fresh new characters that have, a grandeur to them, amazing designs, originality. Feels like we're really getting back on track with Thor. Look at the deep shadows, the drama. So 2 of them are going to go to Earth, and there they go. They disappear, and all that's left are their footprints. And then one of them is going to go to Asgard and have a confrontation with Odin. So they burst in on Don Blake. Balder and Sif, but why are you here? Thou dost know us? Surely 'tis most passing strange. Know you? Of course I know you, but you wouldn't have come unless something is wrong. What is it? What's happened? Tell me quickly. Unhand her, mortal. None may touch she whom the god of thunder hath chosen. None indeed, save one. Stand back, and you'll see why I know you both. And boom, he's Thor. Nice little reveal. 'Tis you, my lord, we have found the thunder god. My heart is gladdened at the very sight of thee, for thou art 2 whom I would hold most dear. Take heed, mighty one, we have come to warn thee of danger most deadly. Even now the enchanters prepare to strike. The enchanters, possessors of the living talisman, most evil, most powerful of all living foes. But though they be a match for Odin himself, we shall prevail. Thus speaks Thor. My lord, only now, standing in thy presence, do I feel victory may yet be ours. Truly thou art noblest, thou art mightiest and most gallant of all who live, whilst humble Balder is now forgot. Balder's feeling a little jealous here, and again, a Lancelot, King Arthur, and Guinevere love triangle is going to form for a little while between Balder, Thor, and Sif. Though they be too generous by far, thy words do surely warm my heart. But what of thee, loyal Balder? Why standest thou so silent? Hast thou no rallying cry upon this eve of battle? Nay, Thunder God, I have much to think upon. So he's got to think about these feelings he has for Sif, his best friend's girlfriend. And as noble Balder gazes somberly ahead, the flashing objects stream through the sky, finally landing and reshaping themselves into the awesome figures of the Enchanters. Next, this battleground Earth. This issue seemed to go by pretty fast. It had a couple splash pages, which certainly take up real estate. There was a lot of action in this issue, but it wasn't really Thor. Thor wasn't fighting anybody. We had lots of one-on-one fights between Thor and the Super Skrull, between Thor and Replicus, and Thor and the Growing Man in the past 3 issues. But this issue, strangely enough, Thor doesn't fight anybody. His friends do the fighting for him. A nice little offbeat story, something original, something different. But there's going to be plenty of fighting in the next issue. And now we have To the Death. The Tales of Asgard story is starting to wind down. Just a couple more issues to go. Thou art to be congratulated, fair lady. Thou hast won the favor of valiant Volstagg himself. Thou too should be congratulated, for Stan the Man Lee and Jack King Kirby, plus Bill Everett Embellisher and Artie Simic Letterer have created yon saga just for thee. So it's kind of cool seeing Bill Everett's inks on Tales of Asgard. Again, it looks pretty great. It's very faithful, beautiful, and again, lacks a little bit of the atmosphere that Coletta would bring to it. Coletta really was well utilized on the Thor series. And Volstagg, he's a comedic character. He's kissing her hand, and he's tipping this guy's hat off with his sword, physical comedy bits. And she is Mogul's sister, the big villain of this Tales of Asgard epic. This is his sister. Volstagg is falling for her a little bit. He thinks she's falling for him, but it turns out she's setting him up for a trap, getting him to stand on the trapdoor, kind of like the trapdoor in Castle Grayskull, and she pulls this sash to activate it to send him down. But at the last second, he grabs her and pulls her down with him. Unhand me, thou blubbering buffoon. The trap is sprung, and thou art taking me with thee to the Chamber of Doom. And now here they are in the Chamber of Doom. Looks pretty cool, pretty dangerous. And now we're getting a little bit of, Greek mythology peppered in. We have Mutaurus, who is sort of a cybernoid minotaur. Mutaurus, what a great name, a mutant Taurus. And, he's the monster of this underground labyrinth that they're going to have to do battle with. Volstagg pulls out his sword. Mutaurus bashes the wall into smithereens. The two of them flee from the monster, and there's all kinds of cool creatures residing down here. Just a really nice setting. I love this hexagonal door. We have reached the idol, and this is what we seek. The enchanted rod of wondrous wizard power. Stand thee back, bestial Mutaurus. Mighty Volstagg hath truly toyed with thee long enow. Look at this amazing statue that's holding this wizard rod. And now it's erupting with power, this giant phallic symbol. She hands it off to Volstagg. Volstagg has it. It's just, raining disintegration everywhere. Odds blood, not even the powerful limbs of Volstagg can control the enchanted rod. It doth spin wildly in mine arms like a maddened living thing. And disintegrates Mutaurus. It hath struck Mutaurus. He fades from sight before our very eyes. So Volstagg kind of, blunders into victory. God protects fools and scoundrels. Kind of like Jar Jar Binks. And we'll see this again in a later installment with Volstagg. And now we cut back to the Demon Riders. We are the Demon Riders, conjured into existence by the mystic sorcery of Mogul. Nothing that lives can stand before us, and we can never die. Thou shalt be stopped somehow, some way. Hogun doth not yield. And so we get a great little battle here of Hogun, Fandral, and Thor versus these Demon Riders. Hogan bashes one of them while he's wrestling with another. Thor grabs two of them off their horses. We shall find a means to vanquish them. Thus speaks the son of Odin. Thus shall the very fruit of Asgard battle unto death. Next, the beginning of the end. So, pretty exciting ending here. I think next issue is the next to last installment of Tales of Asgard. So we'll be saying goodbye to Tales of Asgard pretty soon. And, what a way to go out. I'm Tom Scioli, author of Jack Kirby, The Epic Life of the King of Comics. I am Stan, a graphic biography of the legendary Stan Lee, and Jack Kirby's Star Warriors, The Adventures of Adam Starr and the Solar Legion. I'm also the author of Witchman, a new superhero comic book, which recently had a successful Kickstarter campaign. I'll see you next Thursday.